Thanks very much, Paul. It's always good to hear from Paul. He is omnipresent on this subject matter. I knew Paul when he had hair, let alone grey hair, way back when we were work colleagues. And I have to say, I recently came across a phrase which is an adaptation of education is wasted on the young. The adaptation was that wisdom is wasted on the old, that it'd be much better placed to be embodied within young people, because then they'll be able to make better decisions. But I think in Paul's case, I definitely don't think wisdom is wasted with him. I like the new version. He's a little bit softer around the edges than the one that I used to work with, and it's great that he's putting all of his energies to our cause. Speaking of putting our energies to our cause, I think it's great to hear from some of the role models and trendsetters of what Paul is espousing with regards to the corporate landscape and the new forms of leadership. So it's with great pleasure that I can introduce the next speaker, which is Bob Chapman. Bob is the CEO of Barry-Wehmiller, which is a $3.3 billion global capital equipment and engineering solutions company. And it has more than 12,000 team members in its organization. And Bob has been recognized by many institutions around the world for his unique leadership approach and his humanistic approach to leadership. So it's a great honor to welcome him onto the stage. So please put your hands together.
Thank you. I feel humbled to follow Michael's wisdom. So most of you are academics. Michael talked in an academic language. You're looking at a simple accountant, okay, who ran a manufacturing business talking to educators. So I want to set the stage. The reason I'm here is I believe I was blessed by some higher power with a vision of the way the world was intended to be, where we genuinely care for each other. I feel called to share that transformation I experienced with you, to invite you to join us. So I'm going to walk you through this journey. Creating a world, again, that everybody matters. The book Raj and I wrote is a book entitled Everybody Matters, A Drive Towards Humanistic Leadership. I'm going to start by setting the stage. My granddaughter, I have 6 kids and 20 grandkids. My granddaughter graduated from Aspen High School about 5 years ago. I went to the graduation in the music tent at the Aspen Music Festival. And as each student walked up to get their diploma, the families were cheering loudly for the celebration, recognition of their kids. As my granddaughter pictured here, Aiden, walked up, I got tears in my eyes as opposed to joy. And let me tell you why. I've been giving this speech for about 15 years. And what I'm going to share with you, nobody debates. Why, at a time of the greatest prosperity in the world, do we have the highest level of depression, anxiety, and suicide among our youth and our adults? Why? Because people thought happiness was money. Okay? And I'm going to share with you my journey. So why did I have tears in my eyes? Today, 88% of all people feel they work for an organization that does not care about them. 88% of the people. Why would you want your precious children to get a job someday when there's a high probability they're going to be treated as a function for the organization's success? 3 out of 4 people in the country are disengaged in what they're doing. When I talk to CEOs and they tell me they're concerned about the cost of healthcare, I say, you are the problem. 74% of all illnesses are chronic. The biggest cause of chronic illness is stress, and the biggest cause of stress is work. Jeffrey Pfeiffer at Stanford wrote a book where he talks about our leadership model, and he said, the title of the book is Dying for a Paycheck, and they don't mean anxious to get one. He estimates we're killing 120,000 people a year of work-related stress, much less all of the illnesses they experience. Raj informed me There's a 20% increase in heart attacks on Monday mornings when people have to go back to work. We live in a country, this country, where we have TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. Get the hell out of this place and have a beer and get away from people. I imagine, as you'll see, a society where we have TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. Get away from the kids, the spouse, and be with a group of people I enjoy profoundly. So that is why I had tears in my eyes. And we've further learned from Gallup, when you put people in leadership positions, do you help them understand that in that role, they're going to be more impactful to the health of the people they live than their family doctor? I was never told that. I was never aware of that in my journey through education and business. I thought the way I ran Barry-Wehmiller would create shareholder value. I had no idea I would impact people's lives at home. I thought your personal life was your personal life. I'll share with you, when we teach people to be leaders, 90% of the feedback we get is how it affects their marriage and their kids. 90%. We had no idea when we taught people to become leaders, they would be better parents, better spouses, better citizens. 65% of people in this country would give up a salary increase if they could fire their boss. Don't all these things align? 58% of people say they would trust a stranger before they trust their boss. So what we are suffering from in this country is leadership malpractice. I speak in the military, I've spoken to Congress, I speak in healthcare, I speak in education. In every part of our society, the issue we face is we don't have leaders. We have deans, we have professors, we have administrators, we have bosses, supervisors. We don't have leaders who genuinely have the skills to care for the people they lead. Tom Friedman said this, what we are suffering from in this country is not a poverty of money, it's a poverty of dignity. And when people don't feel valued, you'll see anger and unrest in your streets like you've never seen before, because people will feel humiliated. So what we have since the Industrial Revolution is the creation of economic wealth, but we forgot the most important piece, which is human wealth, human dignity. And we use people. So again, I'm sure all of you would like your children and people in your span of care to live a fulfilling, happy life. But Gallup did a survey of over 100 countries and found they thought it would be wealth that would create happiness, which is why we get a good education, so we can get a good job and make money. They found that after a certain level of income, it does not impact happiness. They thought it'd be your health. You're blessed with good health. People take their health for granted. They found the number one source of happiness in the world is a good job doing meaningful work with people you enjoy. So what do we deny to 88% of the people in this country? A source of happiness and dignity. And we can fix it. The good news. So again, just referring to the United Nations, it's within our business school walls that we developed the next generation of leaders. He didn't say managers, did he? Okay, he said leaders. And that's what I'm here today. That's what I'm committed to. We have to create leaders who have the skills and courage to care and understand the impact they're going to make on the people they have. So we're completely in alignment with the United Nations and their goal and the goal of humanistic leadership. The first half, I have a very traditional education in accounting. I got an MBA from Michigan. I went to Price Waterhouse, and I went into a broken family company in 1969. And I took what I was trained with, which was to create shareholder value, and long journey. The first half of my career, I was extremely successful in creating value. It looked like this, it wasn't like this, but I did it. And I thought that's what business is all about. But through a series of revelations, which I'm going to share with you, I have a totally different view of leadership, which is the second half of my career. So we have created a $3.5 billion global company. We operate from China to India to Serbia to Italy to France. We have people all over the world. What I'm sharing with you today, because this is a global group, is not an American issue. I mean, tomorrow I'm speaking to 1,000 people in Saudi Arabia, okay? Spoke to people in Lisbon last week at Unilever. This is a universal message. I find no difference anywhere in the world. People simply want to know they matter, okay? That is the issue we need to address. So again, and the reason I share with you the success we've had, we've actually outperformed Warren Buffett over the last 25 years. Our share price has gone up 14% a year, compounded for 25 years. Why do I say that? Because some people think caring costs money, okay? Honestly, when you care for people, they will share gifts with you they didn't even know they had and go home feeling a sense of joy. So again, I'm bringing to you a totally different lens, not an academic lens, and I'm not sharing with an academic theory. I'm sharing with you this journey I've been blessed with that I feel called to share. I was shaped by 3 revelations, okay? That's the only way I can describe them. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't read a book. Nobody advised me. I had these revelations. The critical one that everybody remembers is I was at a wedding of my friend in Aspen. He was walking his precious daughter down the aisle. And everybody was so impressed with how beautiful she looked, how handsome the young man was. The father was so proud. And they got to the altar, and he said, "My mother, her mother and I give our daughter to be wed to this young man." And he sat down. Now, having walked my 2 precious daughters down the aisle, I know that's what he was told to say at the rehearsal dinner. It's not what he wanted to say. It's what he told. What he wanted to say is, "Look at young man, her mother and I brought this precious young lady into this world. We've given her all the love and care we could possibly give her so she could be who she's intended to be. And we expect you, young man, through your marriage, to allow her to continue to be who she's intended to be. Do you understand that?" That would be a serious, honest conversation at every wedding. In that moment of that wedding, I had the revelation that people around the world resonate with. The lens that I was taught in school, experienced in business, I saw people as a function for my success. I needed them for me to be successful. I was a nice guy. We had a nice company. But I hired engineers, accountants, hourly workers, production workers for my success. That day at the wedding, that lens through which I was taught and experienced in work was reversed. Instead of seeing people as functions, I saw them like I saw that young man and young lady as somebody's precious child that had been placed in my care. And the way I would treat them would have a profound impact on my life. And I would have forever been changed when that lens through which I saw people was dramatically changed. So when you look at your responsibility as a leader and you look at those people, you don't look at them as students or staff, you look at them as somebody's precious child and you treat them with respect and dignity, we could heal the issues we have in this world. So that is the moment of transformation where my lens happened around 2000. I hate the word management. I hate it. It's an abusive word. Well, I took management classes, got a management degree, and got a job in management. So what did I think I was supposed to do? Manage people. Name anybody in your life you can manage. Name anybody in your life that wants to be managed. Management means, in my view, the manipulation of others for your success. Leadership is a totally different lens. It's a profound responsibility for the people you have the privilege of leading. And as you see them as somebody's precious child, you treat them with respect and dignity, we could heal the brokenness of the world. But we don't teach people to be leaders. We take management classes, got a management degree. So leadership is the stewardship of the lives entrusted to you. So we began, and when I had that revelation 20 years ago, I woke up after Brian challenged me, and I said, we've been blessed with a message that could heal the world. What are we going to do to make sure it doesn't die with me? And so we decided we had to start. We couldn't send our people back to your universities because you don't teach leadership. So we had to create our own university. The good news, we had a whiteboard. We had no protocol. Okay? And we started, and the first class that our team demanded we teach to convert managers into leaders was empathetic listening. I thought that was stupid. Why would we teach adults to listen? We all know how to listen, right? I will stand here today, 20 years later, and tell you we have the biggest issue we face in the world is we don't know how to listen. We teach speech so you can articulate your views, and we teach debate for critical thinking, but we don't teach the most important of the three, which is to listen, not to debate, not to judge, but to validate the worth of the person. What I've realized in this journey of listening, which is now the most profound thing we teach in our leadership company, which has created our culture, is that I thought we were born with uniquely different characteristics, but it turns out that we're born with uniquely different personalities, okay? And two people raised in the same house can see the same issue dramatically differently, but we don't teach them to understand. We teach them to debate. I see it right and you see it wrong. And we also teach recognition and celebration, which is what Cynthia and I learned in raising 6 kids. If you don't spend 5 times more complimenting your kids than suggesting things they could do better, it's harmful for your kids. Well, guess what? Adults are identical. The expression goes in business, I got 10 things right and I never heard a word. I got 1 thing wrong and I got my ass chewed out. So recognition and celebration is a teachable skill. And we shine a light in our organization and look for the goodness and hold it up and say thank you. And it is profoundly important in our culture. And it's not for 10-year anniversary or 5 years. It's for your goodness. And culture of service, seizing the opportunity to serve others. So I think, again, Raj, who I'm incredibly blessed to share a message. Raj, when he first heard about the company, I asked him to co-author a book with me. He said, Bob, I can't write a book on every good company. And I said, you're right. So he said, well, I'll come and visit someday. So he came. Raj saw the culture talking to our people, saw grown men come to tears talking about what it feels like to be cared for. And Raj says, this is the message that has to be written, and I'm going to write it. Simon Sinek is the first person that came because he said, he wrote the book on finding your why. And Simon Sinek said, I'm no longer a nutty idealist. I've just seen what I dream of. I dream of a world where you can walk and tap anybody in the shoulder in any city in the world and say, do you like their job? And they say, no, I don't like the job. I love my job. And Simon said, if it exists, it must be possible. So I'm not giving you an academic theory. I'm sharing with you a blessing that we've been given that I feel called to share so we can start bringing this to our youth so we don't have to fix these adults. And then, again, we're in the UN environment. Bill Urey, a world peace negotiator from Harvard, came because Simon said, you got to see this. Bill spent 2 days talking to her people, and he said, Bob, I saw the answer to world peace in Barry-Wehmiller. I said, Bill, how do you go to a manufacturing company and see the answer to world peace? He said, I saw a place where people genuinely care for each other. Isn't that the world that we admire and work for? And he said, I now realize, remember, go back to the listening class, which is foundational to our transformation. He said, I now realize I've been going to global peace talks for 30 years around the world. And that's exactly what they are. They're global peace talks. He said, the problem we have in the world is nobody knows how to listen. I'm right and you're wrong. Well, so again, this outside observation of our culture, Harvard ended up writing a case study on our culture about 7 years ago. It's become one of Harvard's best-selling cases with 70 universities from Japan to India studying our culture, which I share that with you to give validation. So anyway, as I summarize, we are trying to live these values to show it's possible and share these values. As the chairman of American Airlines said to me when he heard me speak, he said, Bob, I thought my job was to build the world's biggest airline, which I did. It never occurred to me to care for 130,000 people. And this is a man of great faith who met me at a church, and he said, it's given me a whole new purpose at American Airlines. San Francisco 49ers gal. So we have 60 people full-time now working with major corporations of the world, helping them, awaken them to the need for caring in leadership. So again, we're sharing this message with the world. Cynthia and I have a nonprofit that we've taught now 13,000 people in the United States and communities to care. And one of the most significant is police. This policeman told me, Mr. Chapman, we take hundreds of hours to learn how to enforce the law. We are never taught how to care for people. And when you learn to listen in policing, we could heal a lot of the brokenness we see in policing. So, and what we've realized through our Leadership Institute, working with major executives in the world, Why do we have to fix adults? Because our education system is the issue. So we need a hospital for adults who need reform, but we need the vaccine to prevent this. So we started working with universities to try and change the purpose of education, call it to a higher calling. Originally, our education system was to have a democracy with informed citizenry. But the Industrial Revolution came along and said, we need skills. So our universities became skills factories. We got the best raw material we could. We processed them through the system, and then we sold them to the market. And if we got a good price, we must be doing a good job at our university. Our position is universities need to transform to a vision, and this is my vision for universities, that we create tomorrow's leaders who have the skills and courage to care. They go out into medicine, they go out into nonprofits, they go out into government. We need leaders in every part of our society, as you can see, who have the skills and courage to care for the people they have the privilege of leading. So again, Michael Pearson, we've been blessed to be introduced to Michael Pearson. The people at Harvard said, you got to get to know this kid. He's really good. He's going to make a difference. Donna Hicks said we needed Michael. So we got aligned with the Jesuits, the UN, and we're working hand in hand to transform education. So again, to me, the key is we will never heal the brokenness we have in the world until education embraces their piece of this transformation and elevates its purpose to creating tomorrow's leaders who will go into our families, our communities, and our businesses with the human skills in addition to academic skills. We are partnering with Charlotte Ladin in Charlotte, North Carolina, through K through 12, trying to integrate human skills from K to 12. And then Virginia Commonwealth University is ready to help us transform business education. And again, so our book, The Rise That I Wrote, the manifesto is pretty simple. Everybody wants to do better. Trust them. Leaders are everywhere in your organization. Find them and recognize them. People achieve good things, big and small, every day. Celebrate them. Some people wish things were different. Listen to them. Everybody matters. Show them. So I love this expression, and I think it will inspire us all. I think we've done the best we can, but now that we know better, let's do better, okay? That's the message. Thanks. Thank you.